Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GinJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Friday, November 1st. Happy November to everybody out there. So, right now, as the title says, we're talking about what if the Jaguars beat the Eagles. It's kind of an if-then scenario. Look, I don't think it's going to happen. The Jaguars are 2-6. The Eagles are playing great football since their bye week. Their defense has really turned it on. Jalen Hurts looks like a new man running out there like with incredible explosiveness. He's got his receivers. A.J. Brown is back. Devontae Smith is playing good football. They've got Saquon Barkley, the offensive line. I mean, they're better coached, right? On both sides of the ball. Vic Fangio on defense. Kellen Moore on offense. Jalen Carter is a wrecking ball. They've got a bunch of guys contributing at a high level up front. The linebackers are playing better than they have in recent years. You've got your rookies, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean playing well back there. Reed Blankenship, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I do not think the Jaguars are going to beat the Eagles. But if-then scenario, what if the Jaguars do beat the Eagles? Like, crazier things have happened, right? They have. And the Jaguars have played mostly competitive football the last 5 games. It could happen. I don't expect it. I don't expect Doug to go into Philly and beat his former team. But it could happen. Crazier things have certainly happened just in the last few weeks in the NFL. The NFL is wild. It's a week-to-week league. It's a matchup league. Maybe the Jaguars rolling in there with some more 12 personnel, find some balance, take advantage of the Eagles playing light on defense a lot, a lot of 5 DB sets. Who knows? Play just a little bit better defense. Tyson Campbell holds his own a little bit with A.J. Brown. Maybe you find a way to beat the Eagles. Who knows? If you do that, what happens next, right? If the Jaguars get to 3-6, what then? Does anything change? Who knows? I mean, if they fall to 2-7, you're almost just like, you're close to mathematically eliminated. And I do not believe the Jaguars are going to go on this run that everyone's hoping for, but they've done it. They have done it before. They were 2-6 in 2022, made the playoffs. It can be done. They won 6 out of 7 games during a stretch last year as well. It can be done by this football team. I don't think it's going to happen 3 years in a row. That's a dangerous way to live. It's a crazy way to live. They're too inconsistent. But if you're 3-6 after this weekend, you've got 4 division games left. The Texans are struggling with injuries right now. Not playing their best football, maybe not coaching their best football. Lost to the Jets last night. So you got 4 division games left. You've got up next Minnesota and Jacksonville, Detroit, and Houston and Jacksonville. So, maybe there's a chance there. Maybe. It's at 3-6, you just have dug yourself such a hole. And even if they continue to play competitive football week in and week out, it's tough sledding. It really is. To have to win that many games consecutively. They basically, at 2-6, to guarantee themselves a playoff spot, they probably have to go 10-7, which would mean you can lose one more game. You have to go 8-1. Maybe sneak in at 9-8. That would mean you have to go, 7-2. So, not going to be easy. And it's not an easy schedule coming up with Minnesota, Detroit, and Houston. If they do survive that stretch, though, there's a chance. There is a chance. We'll talk about it after we talk about Underdog Fantasy, where you can play Pick'em, a whole lot more. Use code Duval Daily on their easy-to-use mobile app or on UnderdogFantasy.com, and Underdog will give you a free pick on your first Cash Pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. It's currently Boostober on Underdog, where there's a promo to play nearly every day. There are tons of options for Jaguars and Eagles. Hopefully you had Garrett Wilson last night. My goodness, what a performance for him. You want to pick a running back like Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby. Underdog has vulture protection to rescue your pick'em for running backs if they get vultured. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Duval Daily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus. 19 plus Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, that's 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE and wire text Hope and Y 467-369. So, looking at, again, if the Jaguars beat the Eagles, the Vikings up next in Jacksonville. You know, they got off to an incredibly hot start this year. They haven't been great the last month. They have lost 2 consecutive games. They're playing the Colts this weekend, Sunday Night Football. Jaguars and Eagles got flexed out of Sunday Night Football so the country could watch Indy and Minnesota duke it out. But Minnesota, you know, they lost to the Rams last week. They lost to the Detroit Lions the week before. Not bad losses by any stretch. I think the Rams were pretty healthy and feeling themselves a good bit in that game. And obviously, unbelievable penalty that wasn't called at the end of that game. And Detroit, you know, you're losing to Detroit. That's nothing to be upset about at all. But even before that, you know, they barely beat the Jets, who were not playing good football at the time. They barely beat the Packers, who obviously are a very good team. They started out scorched earth, though, really. I mean, just beat the brakes off the Giants in week 1, beat the 49ers in week 2, beat the brakes off the Texans in week 3. So, I mean, they're a very good football. They're well coached by Kevin O'Connell. Brian Flores on defense is an absolute menace. The way he coaches on that side of the ball, you're either seeing crazy blitzes, you know, 5, 6, 7 guys blitzing, or you're seeing a ton of guys in coverage. Very difficult to prepare for, to know what's going on play to play. It's chaotic, no doubt about it. So that won't be an easy game, but if you beat the Eagles and you start feeling yourself a little bit, getting confident, getting hot. I mean, I think the offense, you know, Brian Thomas Jr. obviously needs to play for the Jaguars. If they have any chance to beat the Eagles, he needs to play well. And I would say same thing against the Vikings. No doubt about it. But let's say you beat the Vikings after you beat the Eagles. You're 4-6. And again, 4 division games. I think you should have the advantage against the Colts and the Titans. I think that you should be able to play with the Houston Texans. Like, you've shown you can do that. I think Detroit's going to whip up on the Jaguars. In Detroit, no. I don't see them winning that football game. So that's your 7th loss right there. Again, in this hypothetical world where the Jaguars go up to Philly and win, which I do not think that they're going to do. I'm just saying, you know, for the optimists out there that want to see, okay, how could this work out? Beat the Eagles and beat Minnesota, lose to Detroit, and then you've got 4 games against your division, and you've got the Jets, not a great football team, and the Raiders, not a great football team. That's the path right there. Tennessee twice. The Jags struggle to beat the Titans 2 games in a year. It's difficult to beat anyone twice in one season. You know, the Colts, I guess, permanently benched Anthony Richardson. So playing Joe Flacco in Indy, not a great recipe for defensive success for the Jaguars if that's the final game of the year and it ends up meaning something. Jets are in Jacksonville. Raiders are in Vegas. On paper, I could see them winning either of those games. That's the thing. Like, on paper, I do not see them winning any of the next 3 games. But after that, I mean, if they were able to win a couple of these games, Philly, Minnesota, on paper, could they be close with the Texans? Yeah. Close with the Titans. Probably favored against the Titans. Yeah. Close with the Jets. Yeah. Favored against the Raiders. Yeah. Again, Titans. And then Colt. I mean, on paper, week to week, you could look at that and say that's a pretty winnable schedule. That's a schedule the Jaguars on paper should be better than most of those teams. Yeah, but this has been an inconsistent team. Bottom line. I mean, you have your big win against the Colts in week 5, and then you go to London and you have an absolute stinker against a rookie quarterback. Come out the next week, you're able to double up the Patriots and play a really good game against them overall. Come out the next week, should have beat the Packers, but you couldn't do it. So again, for me to sit here and say, the Jaguars, being 2-6, they're going to go on this run and make the playoffs again, I think it's a bit disingenuous if I was actually trying to convince y'all that this is going to happen, but I'm not. I'm just trying to talk you through this if-then scenario. If they beat Philly, it becomes slightly more in the realm of plausibility that the Jaguars go on a run. If they beat Minnesota and you're sitting at 4-6, then you could really start talking, I think. But the Jaguars have to take care of business in Philly against a well-coached football team. Look, I'm not a Nick Sirianni fan. Made that very clear many times. But I do think they did a good job hiring on the coordinator front this year. And they just are one of the most talented teams in football. Howie Roseman continues to churn out good draft picks, good signings. That's how they roll. It's going to be a hostile environment. I don't think the Jaguars are going to win. But if they do, you're just inching closer to plausibility of an actual run happening. We'll see. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, become a channel member here on YouTube. Y'all have a good one.